Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Nacho Problems, where we turn ordinary recipes into extraordinary nachos. I'm Nacho Queen, but you can call me M. So we finally decided to give Italy a break and move on to insulting another European nation. And honestly, who better than the French? I confess, I'm rather a mousy person, but I can still spin quite a tasty tale. So this week, we're making Ratatouille Nachos. Now, if you're like me and you had never heard of the dish prior to the movie, you might not realize that the dish you're looking at is actually a variation of ratatouille called confit Bayaldi. Probably mispronouncing that, but let's be honest, I most likely got banned from the country after the last French recipe I made. So let's get started. Step 1, the cheese. Our cheese is going to be the sauce, and for that we need 2 tablespoons olive oil, 1 medium onion, diced, 4 cloves garlic, minced, 1 red bell pepper, diced, 1 yellow bell pepper, diced, 2 teaspoons salt, 1 teaspoon pepper, 8 to 10 medium tomatoes, also diced. Yeah, there was a lot of dicing for this recipe. And 2 tablespoons thinly sliced fresh basil, which was a little late to the show, but it made its curtain call in time for toppings. Start by adding your olive oil to the pan and saute the onion for about 5 minutes over medium heat, before adding in the peppers and sauteing for another 5 minutes. Then add in the garlic and saute for 3 more minutes before adding the tomatoes. Let the veggies cook for about 3 more minutes before adding in the salt, pepper, and basil. Stir those in well, cover and reduce the heat to low, simmering for 30 minutes, stirring occasionally. Once it's done, we need to blend it up to a smooth sauce. For that, we're going to need Sean Blendez here. Now, if I had cooked this in one of my stainless steel pots, I could have blended it directly in there. But I used my nice nonstick pan, and we never use anything metal on nonstick, which is why I moved it to this bowl. Well, that's all for our cheese. Now it's time for step 2, the chips. We're going to be turning our eggplant, squash, and zucchini into our chips, but they're not very crunchy, especially when cooked. So we're going to fix that by breading and frying them. For that, we need 1 small eggplant, or aubergine, 1 medium zucchini, or courgette, 2 small yellow squash, also known as summer squash or crookneck squash, 1 cup flour, 1 teaspoon salt, half a teaspoon pepper, 1 cup milk, 1 egg, some breadcrumbs, I used most of this container, and some oil for frying. We'll start by slicing our vegetables. Now, I wanted them a little thicker than my mandolin can get them, so I decided to use my other slicer, aka cameraman. Don't you just love the apron I picked up for him in Alaska? It's so him. Anyway, he is going to slice all the vegetables into about 1/4 inch slices. While he finishes up that, I can set up our breading stations. As we've done before, we set up 3 bowls. Into the first one, we're going to place our flour, salt, and pepper. In the second one, we'll place our milk and egg. And finally, in the last one, add about 1 cup of your breadcrumbs to start with, then top up as needed. Now to bread our veggies. We coat each one first in the flour, then we stop for a second while the power flashes. Did I mention I filmed this one during a thunderstorm? Not a bad one though, so let's keep going. Next, we're into the milk, and finally into the breadcrumbs for a good coating. Now repeat about 100 times for the rest, and then we can move on to frying. I've heated about 1/4 inch of oil to 350 degrees, and we're going to carefully add in our veggies. Now these cook super fast. Do not walk away from them. They only need about 1 minute per side. And as always, be very careful when flipping so as not to splash oil. Then remove them to a paper towel lined plate or baking sheet and keep warm until ready to serve. That's it for our chips. Let's move on to step 3, the toppings. Our toppings is going to be nice little herb sauce. For that we need 4 tablespoons olive oil, 1 teaspoon minced garlic, 2 tablespoons fresh sliced basil, nice if you'd grace us with your presence there, half a teaspoon salt, 1/4 teaspoon pepper, 1 teaspoon fresh thyme, and 1 tablespoon fresh parsley chopped. We're going to add our olive oil to the pan and saute our garlic over medium-high heat for just a minute or 2. Watch it carefully, you don't want it to burn. You just want it to get a little fragrant. Now add in your basil and thyme and cook for another minute before adding in your salt and pepper. give it one last good stir, and remove from heat. The parsley will be used as a fresh garnish over the top. So that's everything. Now it's time for my favorite part. Step 4, let's eat. When making your plate, be sure to get a few of each kind of chip for maximum flavor. Then we need to add some of our tomato sauce, a couple dollops of our herb sauce, and finally a few parsley leaves for color and freshness. Jimmy Buffett is up as taste tester, so let's get his reaction. Like rats running from the health inspector, all the family scurried to the table for these nachos. Even the picky youngson declared that if he had to eat squash, this is okay, I guess. High praise indeed. Well, that's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a like and please consider subscribing if you want to see more nacho videos. If you have an idea for a future video, you can leave a comment below or tag me on Twitter. I'm at NachoProblemsYT. I've also linked my Blue Sky below, but you won't find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Threads. If you're looking to steal my apron, well, that's nacho merch, but you can get your own at a link in the description. Now, it's harvest time here at Casa del Nacho, so I need to figure out what to do with 15 pounds of onions and some peppers so hot they had even Jimmy Buffett turning funny colors. But that's Nacho Problem. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.